Welcome into the Rams post-game show here on House of Horns. My name is Victor Corona, aka Victor Producer, and joining me as always is Gilbert Manzano, who does it for MMQB over there at SI.com. Gilbert, the Rams come out victorious with a 33-19 win over the Titans. It was a kind of a sloppy first half and kind of what we expected. And then the defense and the offense kind of took over in the third and fourth quarter. Just give me your takeaways from this matchup here.
Yeah, that was shaping up to be an ugly game, potential trap game, and we kept talking about just get the victory, don't get style points, and get the hell out. And that was happening for about 2.5 quarters, and then suddenly they get a takeaway. They push Cam Ward into a turnover, and the game just flipped. And that's what your defense does, and the defense is always gonna give you chances because they're gonna make impact plays. Now, can the offense do something? And they did finally, Victor. The offense
Yep.
stepped up. Davante Adams balled out. Puka Nakua balled out. The rushing game came alive. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, and obviously Matthew Stafford was dealing and wheeling and dropping dimes there in Nashville. So that was a pretty complete performance. Special teams, defense, offense, and I did not see that coming in the first half. I thought it was gonna be an ugly game, but here we are, and it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, especially late in that second quarter, it just felt like the Titans had all the momentum. One of the things I did harp on was the punting here from Ethan Evans and how he doesn't do a good job of letting his coverage get back. They got lucky there because it could have been a touchdown. It could have been a momentum swinging thing, and the Titans still went on and scored in that possession. And so going into the second half, they came out and I think it was like 4 or 5 plays and they score right away. And so they did what they were supposed to. They took care of business in this game as we talked about. You don't want to let a team like this have, second, third chances and then be able to pull out a win against you. So it was good to see them take care of business in the second half, especially that defense. I thought Byron Young like put his stamp on this game from the beginning. You saw Jared Verse having to leave the game late in the second quarter. He came back early in the third quarter, but I thought Byron Young he stepped up. I don't know if it was that he was back in Tennessee again, or he went to school, or what, but that was good to see Byron Young step up in this game.
Yeah, he often gets lost with so much depth on the defensive line. It's Kobe Turner, Braden Fisk, and Jared Verse. And like, oh yeah, Byron Young is good too. He's a quality number two edge rusher, very consistent, but we always forget about him. And then he had some those impactful plays, 2 sacks. The game changing play. I thought at least momentum swinging plays. So he really stepped up there, especially when you thought for a second Jared Verse maybe won't be available. He left for a bit and came back, and I didn't really track that after, but it seemed like he was okay. But overall, it was a complete performance because too many times the defense is just stepping up, and they had some hiccups. They gave the rookie some life. Cam Ward, you don't throw across your chest to the other side of the field, but he got a touchdown. He got lucky
Yep.
on that one. And he was confident. He was moving around. He was making throws, and even the rookie Ao Maynor, which I hopefully I'm not
Yeah,
butchering his
that's
name.
actually pretty good because I had already forgotten how you say his name. So
Yeah,
that's good
so
on you.
just the way I read it, Ao Maynor, and he was
Yeah.
Ao Maynor. He was because somebody cover that guy. Ao cover
Yeah.
him, and he was doing well, and Calmore was doing well. And then for a second, I'm like, hey, maybe Callahan might be having a good game plan here. And then nope, the wheels fell off, and the Titans are who we thought they were.
Yeah, and that's what happens, eventually the best team is gonna, come out on top, as the game progresses. Matthew Stafford, he was 23 of 33, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had one bad interception there in the 2 minute, hurry up offense there. He still looks a bit rusty, Gilbert, and that's to be expected. He missed all of training camp and then, into preseason. He came back that last week for practice. And so, I mean, it's still an impressive stat, but you can tell that they're still a bit rusty. I did have a issue though, Gilbert, there when they got in the red zone the first 2 times. They hit a couple field goals there, short field goals. But I thought my biggest issue there, especially with that second possession in the red zone, Gilbert, was they just they targeted Davante Adams all 3 times. They didn't even try running the ball, which I understand. You know, McVay is really trying to target Adams, but I just thought the ball wasn't getting spread around there.
Yeah, if we're gonna nitpick, that is something that was also on my radar, and I'm like, should I harp on that? They're 2-0. They handle business. That was a much better performance than what I expected. I even had the Titans covering, and I thought I was gonna get that until it fell apart. And but it is something where like it's a typical Stafford where he does lean on the playmakers or his star wideouts a little more. Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams, and but for the most part, I thought the running game was well balanced in the second half at least.
Yep,
I did like Davis Allen, your boy, getting a touchdown.
yep.
But it's just not enough distributing the ball around to the other playmakers. And I think until the Rams do that, and again nitpicking, if the Rams find another element to their offensive playbook where it's not, hey, Puka, save us, Devontae, save us, and Stafford just, targeting those guys at a high rate until you're able to get Jordan Whittington more involved. And they did today. He was a playmaker in terms of the small stuff, the little things that just matter on the field, the blocking, the versatility. He was out there. Not Tutu Atwell. Sorry again, Tutu Atwell. But until you get more guys involved, and maybe it becomes, instead of 3, it's 4, 5, 6, then the offense is going to pick up. But seeing the balance, rushing and attack, and seeing the offense capitalize on the defense, to me, you can't really complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams combined for 14 catches, 242 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's what you want out of your two playmakers. Those are the guys that you want to get the ball to. So, and like you said, Davis Allen again, with another touchdown, 2 touchdowns in the first 2 games. That's been good to see. He's now the tight end 2. I think it's Higbee number 1, and then Davis Allen number 2. We did get to see Ferguson for a little bit in this game, but I want to kind of flip flip sides here on the defense. And I know we talked about a little bit about Byron Young, but you have Akilo Witherspoon who suffered a broken clavicle versus the time there. He's gonna probably miss most of the season, if not the whole season. So we talked about Darius Williams and him not having a snap last week. He comes in, he has a nice PBU there. I really like what I've seen from Emmanuel Forbes. He's been tough there. He had 2 good PBUs there that I saw there. Just I've been impressed by this secondary. They've been kind of limited, but again, if we're nitpicking here, Gilbert, that run defense still needs some work. 109 yards in this game allowed. Just nitpicking here. It was
Yeah.
a great showing by the defense, though. 5 sacks.
Yeah. Again, it's hard to take a lot from these first 2 games because you are playing the AFC South, and the first week you got bailed out by a crappy Texans O line, and CJ couldn't get into his comfort zone. In this second week, Cam Ward had a little more time to throw, but he doesn't have the weapons that CJ Stroud has, Nico Collins and Jaden Higgins. Ayo Maynard's a nice player. Calvin Ridley's okay, but you're not gonna get burned by those guys. So, you know, for the most part, I'll give credit to the Rams defense. It seems like Chris Shula has a scheme in place to just know where your assignment's gonna be, attack that, focus on your assignment, and just live to fight another day. Don't do too much. Don't get out of place. Like I've seen a lot, especially this freaking Giants Cowboys game. Like the secondaries on both sides were horrendous. The Rams are nowhere near that. The guys are playing again where they're supposed to be. It's just the talent is not there. So when the Rams get to the Eagles next week, what can we see here? Are the weaknesses going to get exposed? Is the run defense fixed here? Facing AJ Brown and Devontae Smith and Goddard and Barkley, like, is that where the lack of talent in the back end is going to hurt you? We'll find out. But it's really hard to not say the Rams are doing well because they're 2-0 and they
Yeah.
haven't started this well in a while. But
Yep.
the way we're talking is like, okay, how can you become a Super Bowl contender? And they haven't really gotten into that top 5 power rankings. At least to me, I know Victor, you're higher in the defense. It's just there's a lot more to be seen, to be tested, but they're doing their jobs. They're winning assignments and matchups, and that's just being well coached and having a quarterback like a Stafford. You're always going to be in the battle. So to me, honestly, they're doing better than they were a year ago, and that's a big thing for this team.
Yeah, I mean, this is this 33-19 win was their widest margin of victory, Gilbert, since week 13 of 2023. So that just tells you how many games they've been close in, and it's been over 2 years almost. And then this is the first time they're 2-0 since the Super Bowl season as well.
Woo.
So that bodes well for this team. But as you said, now the biggest thing for me was avoiding a trap game as you go and face the defending champion Eagles. And so they took care of business today, which was good to see. Get out of here healthy. And unfortunately, like I said, you had one injury there where you lose Kilo Witherspoon to a broken clavicle. So just something to monitor there with that secondary. But they have depth there, so I'm not too worried. We'll see what happens going forward with that secondary, but I feel like they're in good hands even if they lose a Kilo Witherspoon. Kyron Williams continues to be the bulk of the carry, getting the bulk of the carry. So that was another thing that I thought was kind of, just trying to see. It was good to see Corum get a touchdown there late in the game, just to kind of split some of the carries there, 17-5. But it's good seeing this offense kind of be a bit more balanced going forward. I thought what was strange is that Williamson, first two games, Gilbert, he ends up with the same amount of rushing yards, 66 yards. So he gets a touchdown in this game, and I mean Corum did, so that was pretty good. Just in terms of your overall, just let me do one more thing here before we move on. I wanted to get this comment. Just give us your takeaways if you're watching this post game show, if you're listening to it. Let us know what your takeaways are. We have James Wheelock here. Nice win. Rams offense got in gear. Having my victory beer. Enjoy that beer. Well worth it there, James. Yeah, it's good. For the first time that, like I said, they're 2-0 since that Super Bowl season. Gilbert, just give me your final thoughts here on this win, and what do you have for them going forward? I mean, what do you want to see going forward from this team?
Yeah, and it was a very impressive victory, and I think we are maybe harping a little too much on the competition. But I'll say this to end on a high note, like in terms of chemistry, and I don't even care about the style points, like the chemistry and trying new things and experimenting with your offense to maybe figure out why it's been stagnant so much in the last year plus. I think that could be beneficial. It could be very. It could carry on to next week. The momentum that they had when you handle business and you're winning in dominant fashion. I know this play didn't occur in the second half, but they tried a jet sweep for Puka Nakua. Puka Nakua is not known for
Yep.
speed, and he got a touchdown. You know what I saw? Blocking. I saw Jordan Whittington down the field. I saw
Yep.
Jackson mauling defenders. Like that tells you, okay, you got the horses to block. We were worried about the offensive line, or at least I'll speak for myself. I was, and they showed a lot on that play. And you try something new like that, I think could bode well for the playbook of Sean McVay for when you play the big boys and the Eagles next week. Uh, Maybe we could call it force feeding Davante Adams, but to get him in rhythm and having chemistry before a big showdown against Philly, that could pay off too. Uh, Having a balanced attack where you get Blake Corum the ball and get him into the end zone, that could pay off in the long run. So it was a lot of trying out new things, getting people established into a rhythm, finding out who's really going to be helping you out. Like I know Davis Allen doesn't have a lot of targets, but 2 touchdowns to start the year, he's starting to become a consistent playmaker. He won't get a lot of targets, but you can rely on that guy. So to me, what I'm gonna come away from the game in Nashville is experimenting. Yes, style points are cool too, but to try new things and get a rhythm. I'm starting to, depending on what happens in this Philly game and Kansas City, to see how the Eagles look, but it could definitely shape up to be a big time showdown next week. It's early, it's week 3, but the way the Rams have looked, man, why not? Why can't they go into Philly and maybe take that one too?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, and then I'll go to the other side of the ball. I mean, just seeing this defense, another forced fumble, another recovery. They're the one of the things that impresses me a lot about this defense isn't just their front four, is the fact that they swarm to the ball. They go and they gang tackle. Like that's the kind of stuff you want to see from your defense. That's what makes you a really good defense, because if you start missing tackles, then it starts showing up like you're giving up first downs when you can get out of a drive there. And I thought that was really impressive, just seeing the guys, fly to the ball. And then, you lose Jared Verse there for a little bit, and then you have the rookie come in, and get a sack there as well. And so you're starting to see guys kind of, pop here and there. Nate Landman again, Gilbert, with, he's
Yeah.
been outstanding. He recovered that fumble. He was touched there, but he kept on trying to get. Those are smart guys that you want on the field, and they just continue to make spark plays. Omar Spates has, you can see him flashing out there, running sideline to sideline. So, I just want to see where this team goes now, defensively and offensively. Against It's going to be a big test against the Eagles, but I feel like they're ready for it.
Yeah, just to add to that is, again, like I want to see better competition. I want to see what to do against Philly. This defense that is, especially the back end. I'm not ready to just say it's a special defense. That's a special defense up front that could mask a lot of your weaknesses and make life easier for cornerbacks and linebackers and all that. Well, but I think it's safe to say that Chris Shula has a good scheme. He knows how to teach the scheme. He knows how to get guys in play. So to me, when you lose a guy like Witherspoon, uh, maybe you get whoever the next guy you have from the wire or whoever you sign, like they're gonna probably learn the scheme and they'll contribute in a month. And the next man up mentality that bodes well. And this method of being cheap at linebacker and in the secondary, we're gonna find out if Lesney is this move gonna pay off. When you face Philly next week or throughout the season. So, in terms of having a good scheme, having the right defensive coordinator, having guys that can play their role, they've done that with flying colors. But to me, it's like eventually talent's gonna catch up to you, and we're gonna find out if that's gonna be a problem next week.
Yeah, that what was funny on the broadcast. They brought it up, I think, twice. They were talking about, oh, he's like, oh, he's an undrafted player, and they're like, oh yeah, they have another one. Wow, they have a lot of undrafted players on this defense, and I'm like, yes, they don't pay much on their defense, but hey, it's eventually they will have to. That's just the way they're doing it right now.
Yeah, it's a gamble, and I get it. You want to load up on skill players and pass rushers. That's not a bad approach, especially in a salary cap in the NFL. You can't pay everybody, and this is what the Rams are trying to do and do this method. But it's gotten them to the playoffs. It's gotten them to division rounds, divisional titles, and but can I get you a Super Bowl? Because you know what they did in 2021? They were loaded with star players throughout
Yep.
the roster. So let's see if this method works.
Yeah, we'll find out. All right, Gilbert, who is your Rams Titans 12-pack uh of beer player of the game?
Yeah, I'll split it with the running backs. I like to see Blake Corum finally getting involved. I like that Kyron Williams has been consistent, and you got to have that balanced attack. I know Stafford is a little stubborn. He likes to feed the beast, multiple there, and Puka and Davante, and it's just the way Stafford is. He's not known for moving the ball around, but he's going to give it to his best player. So when you're a little predictable in the passing game, you got to have a good rushing and attack. And they stepped up. And seeing Blake Corum get into the end zone, hopefully now he's able to do something and be consistent because he was, a day 2 pick last year as a rookie.
Yep,
He didn't
third
do
round pick.
much.
Yep.
That's a high investment on a running back. So let's see what he does for the whole year. Maybe it's the start of something new here for Blake.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Byron Young. Like I said, he flashed in this game. He came up big, 2 sacks. I felt like he made his presence felt in this game, and I think Cam Ward, he started to get comfortable in this game, and then he kept seeing that pass rump coming, and eventually it just finally broke through, and that the offensive line for the Titans just couldn't hold up any longer. So shout out to Byron Young, going home or not going home, but he played in at Tennessee, so it was good for him to go be back there, and it showed. He got 2 sacks. We got one comment here before we go. We have Brian Smith here. If you have any questions, Brian, we're about to leave. Gilbert's got to get back to the rest of these games. So if you have a question, send it and we'll get it in. But yeah, Gilbert, great win. They took care of business, as we said. A win is a win. You go into Nashville, you take care of business. You don't get yourself into a trap game, and now you look forward to the big matchup against the Eagles, which I think it will probably be the big matchup for Week 3.
Yeah, no, that was a good victory for them. We did not jinx the Rams. We both picked the Rams to win this week. I had it much closer. You had a blowout, so you won there on both fronts. So, there was no double jinx. So that's good here. And the Rams are 2-0 now. So, uh, the beauty of having a Rams victory at a 10 a.m. start time, you get to enjoy the rest of the Sunday
Yep.
and kick back and enjoy the other games like James is probably doing, Brian is doing. So, hopefully everybody keeps enjoying this good Sunday for Rams fans. But is that everything, Vic?
Yeah. Hopefully, I have a voice by tomorrow. I'm starting to get sick here, so
Uh-oh.
yep. We'll see. But I should be ready to go on Wednesday. I'll be day to day though.
Okay. Yeah, we'll check out the injury report. We'll see how you're doing
Yeah.
for Compas, and then you got also Wednesday for the preview for Rams Eagles. But it's time to get going here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If you're watching the replay, don't be shy. Drop a comment, ask a question, or anything you want to share in the chat. Let us know. But the Rams did improve to 2-0. They are for the first time 2-0 since 2021. Victor mentioned that's
Yep.
good vibes right there when they won the Super Bowl. They beat down the Titans 33-19, but it's time to get going. Ya nos vamos, pues. Vámonos.